The U.S. continues to assess Russia's latest movements in Ukraine. The Pentagon says it is in its final stages of rolling out $800,000 allocated to boosting Ukraine's defense. Joining me right now, Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary Todd Breasseale. Thank you so much, Todd, for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me, Adrienne.
Yes, you know, we have so many questions, and I think the American public is curious. Do we have a solid enough understanding of Vladimir Putin's intentions in order to provide necessary aid to Ukraine?
So what I would tell you is that we are dealing with an individual who has a track record of extraordinarily brutal actions directed at his own people, as we saw in Chechnya, and as well as nations with whom they have an interest. So I will tell you that if past is prologue, we do have a fairly good idea of what he's planning.
In terms of what he's planning, there were so many reports that he was somehow deceived by his advisors. But I know a lot of people would maybe question how Putin, a former intelligence officer with the KGB, could be out of the loop here with this war that he is personally vested in. So where is that intel coming from, and how reliable is it?
Well, unfortunately, and I'm sure you understand, I can't address our intelligence sources and methods. But what I will tell you is that we are very confident in our assessment.
Okay, that is a totally fair answer. $2 billion pledged to Ukraine since the start of President Biden's White House tenure. Is this cash money, or is it a combination of earmarked funds, emergency supplies, and weaponry valued at this amount?
That's exactly right, the latter. We have put in place, I think we've gone through two extraordinarily large aid packages. We've just begun the delivery of a third, and we are putting into the hands of the Ukrainian people the kinds of weapons that we know they know how to use most effectively. And I have to tell you that they are using them with devastating effect to ward off the Russian aggression and to protect their homeland.
Where do we draw the line? Where is the cap on these kinds of funds when we are, of course, taking into consideration inflation in our own country and globally? Even those who support Ukraine passionately clearly have their own U.S. economy on their minds. Can we even afford to be spending more than we have already?
Sure. So I'm not an economic advisor. I'm on sort of the pointy end of the spear. What I will tell you, though, is that the aid packages that we have put in place for the Ukrainian people in partnership with our NATO allies is appropriate, it is right-sized, and it is the kind of aid that has just devastating effect, and it's the sort of thing that we've seen the Ukrainians use to real impact.
We have one more question for you. U.S. officials, of course, talking about the fact that they don't believe that Russia is drawing down troops in any part of Ukraine, but merely regrouping, repositioning. Could Russia, is there any intelligence that speaks to Russia plotting a larger scale war in eastern Ukraine?
Well, I'm sorry, I'm just not going to be able to discuss intelligence matters. But what I will tell you is that you may have heard the president yesterday note that we've seen some repositioning of the forces that were arrayed just outside Kyiv into other places to be regrouped, resupplied, refitted, and recover, frankly. But what we do know also is that Mr. Putin could end this war today. He could recover the thousands of his own war dead, return them to their families. He could stop the endless pummeling of hospitals and bread lines and critical civilian infrastructure, the targeting of civilians. He could stop that today. He could return to the table in earnest, in good faith, and end it today.
Todd Breasseale, Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary, thank you for your insights and thank you for your passion about this. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Adrienne. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.